Hi, everyone. This is case study 3, and I'm Grace Flowers. So a little bit about the client description. This client is a 3-year-old male. He's diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. He communicates fully verbally. However, he has difficulty matching pictures to presented items. He cannot recognize objects in picture or visual formats. And he also has difficulty with tagging or labeling items to his natural environment. He's very heavily reliant on prompting for that. So within our intervention, we use trains because these are the client's highly preferred item and they were super motivating for him. The behavior of concern, he lacked matching and also independent tax skills. So we really wanted to increase his visual perceptual skills and also increase his independence of tax on presented items. So the intervention that we decided to implement is a match to sample with discrete trial teaching. So first we worked on matching and then we worked on receptive identification of items. So first we implemented 2D to 3D matching. So we set up an array of 4 to 6 picture cards on the table. We presented the object to the client, and then we also presented the SD of match or find the same. Once the client had mastered that, we then moved on to the opposite, or the 3D to 2D matching. So kind of in the same way, we set up the array of 4 to 6 objects on the table, but this time we presented the picture card to the client and the objects were on the table. And then we also presented the SD of match or find the same. Once the client mastered the matching skills, we then moved on to receptive identification of train. So we set up the array of 4 to 6 cards again. But this time we presented the SD of find the train, and then the client would point to the corresponding picture card. We really ensured that the cards were randomized each trial, that they were switched up each trial, because if not, the client kind of knew which one to always go to. So we wanted to make sure that he was kind of generalizing the skill. And also, one of the most important things that we wanted to make note of is that it was really important to ensure that the client was attending to the task. So we would present the SD of it's time for work, and his hands would be flat on the table. And then we would present the SD. We really wanted to make sure that he was listening before giving the instruction. So the intervention continued for tacting in the natural environment. We use naturalistic teaching environment. So we presented the client with trains to engage with during free play time. We would hold up the toy train and ask the SD, what's this? The client then verbally and independently tacted train. We also use least to most prompting if needed. And the client would continue to engage with trains following the correct response. So also the intervention continued. Again, like I said, we use least to most prompting hierarchy. So starting with the partial verbal, which is kind of just giving part of the word, and then the full verbal, which would be giving the whole word of trains. So reinforcement was provided on an FR1 schedule. So every time that he tacted train correctly, even if it was with prompting, he received reinforcement, such as great job, that is a train, or way to go. But we eventually faded this into a VR schedule or variable ratio schedule, so the reinforcement was kind of varied. So the stimulus class that we focus on is vehicles. We then could generalize to different types of vehicles. So once he kind of mastered the tacting of trains, we could then move on to a bus, a boat, a car, things like that, making sure that it's really within the same stimulus response class. And like I said, once the client mastered tacting train, a different vehicle was then introduced. So this derived stimulus relations, there's 3 different types. There's transivity, reflexivity, and symmetry. So for symmetry, we would give the client a picture of a train and present the SD of match. The client would then match the picture of a train to a toy train on the table. For reflexivity, we would show the client a picture card of a train, and then the client would match the picture card with an identical picture card of a train on the table. So that one is A equals A, so it's showing that they're the same. And then for the last one, transivity, we showed the client the written word train and placed it next to the picture card of a train on the table. And then we showed the client a picture of a train and placed the toy train object next to it. And then the client independently tacted train. Thanks so much for watching.